Alright, this is a roundtable discussion based on Mortal Kombat, primarily brought to you by ultimatemortalkombat.com, testyourmic.com, and classicmk.com. Got some players here, a lot of tournament guys. We're here at Winter Brawl 5. We're going to start down on the end with Bill. Please introduce yourself.
Hey, my name is Bill. My screen name is Tom Brady. I've been a tournament player since 1992 and about as many games as you can.
Rob, my screen name is Dark Rob. I've been a tournament player for about a year, actually. Winter Brawl last year was my first tournament, or my first major tournament, and I primarily play MK3 and looking forward to MK9.
My name is Glenn. My screen name is Crazy Bone. I've been a tournament player for a couple of years already, and I'm going to support the scene.
I'm Phil, 9.95, tournament player I guess about 3 years now. Mostly Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3, but I do a little MK2 and a little bit of Super Street Fighter.
My name's Matt. I go by Shock, if everyone knows that. Been a tournament player now for 9 years. Play a myriad of Street Fighter games, and otherwise everybody knows MK3. And I hope to see everybody playing MK9.
My name is Joe. I go by either L.I. Joe or I Love You. I've been playing for honestly my whole life. The tournament since about like 2004. When I was kind of old enough, and I kind of play whatever's popular at the time, pretty much.
It's a fancy one.
Yeah. But I still come hang out with my UMK guys always, every tournament.
He's one of ours, even though he plays everything else. So we have a couple of questions or statements that we have, some things that people want to give opinions on. So, alright, so basically the first question is about online and offline, and primarily as to the differences in an online and an offline tournament, and where there are going to be differences in gameplay and why one is preferred over the other. So I think, again, one of the biggest places to start, we have a couple of people who have played online primarily. Going to be playing online and offline. Bill, you've played a little online and offline. Rob really only has experience in offline tournaments, and I've really only got experience in offline tournaments. I don't know about you, Jordan. You played online tournaments?
I played online, but I don't prefer it.
Okay. I think one of the biggest reasons that online versus offline makes a big difference is that in an online scenario, and I think Rob has described this the best, just based on almost mathematics, in terms of the speed at which data can be transferred.
It's finite.
Right.
So fast.
Right, it only moves at the speed of light, and that's in the best case scenario. So while in a best case scenario online tournament, there still is going to be a little bit of lag and delay. So you're always dealing with a little bit of delay, a little input delay, a little randomness, frame drop, button drop, a little bit of that. So you don't quite have the expansive options that are available during an offline tournament. And also, one of the biggest things you don't get in an offline tournament is something like this. You don't get camaraderie, you don't get being able to joke around with each other and meet all the people and make all the friends. And that's something that's huge about tournaments.
Okay, here's my take. When you have netplay, you create an unstable variable in a situation that when you have people playing in person, the only variables are the people involved. There's no physical barrier that separates the player's skill from what it was when they play in person is when they play online. So fundamentally, you cannot play online as well as you can play offline, no matter how good you think your connection is, because it's never as good as playing in person. It's the bottom line. There's no other way around it.
I think because it's been brought up a lot, one thing to note is that nobody here has ever said that online players don't have skill. Many players have honed their skills online, then come to tournaments and have won. We've had that scenario a couple of times now, actually.
What we don't want to hear is people saying they can win tournaments and never come out to a tournament.
Right.
That is the problem.
I think ultimately it actually goes further than player. I think if you were to poll on even the most casual side of the world, and 99% of them would say, yes, I understand there is latency issues. The problem, I don't think, is in the connection. The problem is the casual player wanting a piece of the pie that the offline player gets. They
want that recognition.
They all say, I don't care, until there's an event. And someone they played online and done reasonably well against online does well or wins. And all of a sudden they say, well, I should be entitled to the same accolades this guy gets. And the ultimate problem with online versus offline is that online play merges two worlds that don't work. Casual and competitive. Because you can't say you're a casual player, you don't care, and then you get upset that you're not getting accolades and so and so.
You mentioned casual players who come to these tournaments don't care. They can have fun.
Shock just think casual players that come to the tournaments. There are casual players that go everywhere. You know, casual players don't just exist online. They exist even at the biggest and petty events. They show up, they play, they lose, they play their casual games with, other top players, and then they go home and they're happy. Casual play exists both online and offline. The difference is that online, the casual player doesn't ever get himself put in a competitive atmosphere. The problem is the casual player builds up this invisible ego, so to speak, that exists on his couch. And then if they ever do travel offline for their moment of fame and they lose, they become turned off by the tournament experience, and not because it was bad, but because they didn't get the outcome they expected. And I think the ultimate problem with online versus offline is not the latency. I don't mind playing. I don't care how bad a connection is. If anybody's ever wanted to play online games, I'm always up for playing online games, no matter what. I'm going to be honest with you. Gaming is becoming very big. It's the #1 source of media, bigger than movies, bigger than music, and movies and music will get easier and easier to pirate, and games will get harder and harder to pirate. More people will play games, less people will watch movies. That's the way it is.
That's the accessibility factor.
A lot of casual players out there, any opportunity that people like us get to travel, we go to you guys. So if anyone out there, I don't care if you live in Alaska, I will always give you games, no matter what the connection is. The problem is, when you take advantage of someone's kindness who says, because I'm so grateful for the opportunities out there because of guys like you, that I'm willing just to play you to say, hey, let's get some games, and I understand you cannot travel to play. But then when people take that the extra mile, is where the problem comes into play, because then when you go to travel a tournament, then all of a sudden what happens is you have a tournament thread that obviously guys like this work very hard to set up. And then as soon as the tournament's over, in the midst of everybody saying good games and congratulations, somebody has to come in here and say, screw you guys.
Better than all.
I'm better than all of you. You can't tell me I have to travel. And the thing is, we're not telling you. Ultimately, I think the ultimate stalemate comes in this. Well, there's latency issues. I know there's latency issues, but the argument is not that there's not latency, but there's no other way I have to beat you guys, so that should be good enough. The problem is it's not good enough. And no offense to anyone out there, we didn't walk down the aisle for you, we didn't get your girlfriend pregnant. If you have other issues in your life, it's not fair to you to tell us that we can't have our tournaments and have a legitimate winner. Any more fair than it is for us to tell you don't pay your rent and don't feed your child and come to an event. Ultimately, when it comes to fighting games, you got to realize to each his own. Your life, your preferences dictate that you can't travel, you got to play online. Then just enjoy the games you get with the best players out there and say, I'm so lucky that we have online play now, that I can actually play players I would otherwise never get to play.
We actually had a little mini experience, and we're going to move on to the next question momentarily. We had a little experience just here at Winter Brawl with Mortal Kombat 2, where in the last couple of tournaments, a couple of players have come out who were primarily online Mortal Kombat 2 players. UTBB, David Jam, Dookie Brain, all legitimately good Mortal Kombat 2 players. And Summoning, who is also a very well-known, very good Mortal Kombat 2 player. And he The last two were won by BTBB, and congratulations to David Gem for winning here. Two very well-known, very skilled MK2 players who came out and said, you know what, I am better than some of you, and I'm going to beat him. And I want the recognition, so they showed up, and they both beat him.
And now they got it.
And now they've got it. And now that, in my opinion, legitimizes their online tournament. Because now they can say, I showed up, I beat the best there was offline, and now you can't beat me online or offline.
One more thing out there is very important. This is actually the biggest thing, and I'm so glad you said that. An online player, there are some guys out there who get so much recognition online, and they look at it and they say, I'm already considered the best. We all know David Jett did not show up for it. I think we all can agree on that, right?
Actually, you talked about that.
Maybe he did. But the thing is, you get guys online, and you look at it and you say, well, I'm already considered the best player because of online. If I travel offline and I win, I'm still the best. If I lose, I'm kind of screwed, because then if I play online, I can win 1 million times in a row, and someone will always say, yeah, I don't know. Remember the last time that guy went on? You can't think of it that way. Online, often it's a competitive experience. No one's here to judge you. We're just here to play some games. You know, and I think we all can agree. If you've never traveled before, you have no idea what it's really like to come here. And there's not one person who has ever made an offline event and said, I can go back to the way things were. It's simply not possible. So I think
that's exactly what happened with these online guys. They came back and they said, you know what? These guys who play online only, they don't get it. And this happened for me. It happened, I think, for every one of us who's played offline.
I can easily speak on that. I mean, I'm from California, and I'm all in love with Philadelphia. And I'm telling you, I'll be in Ohio for power.
That's it. And edit the rest of this out and go with his answer. He's right.
I mean, yeah, I think ultimately at the end of the day, what you have to realize is, I think maybe you guys should say you owe it to yourself to try it. We've all tried online at least once in our life. Don't you think you owe it to yourself to try offline just once? Not even something like this. Something local. You know, MK9 is coming out. It's going to be pretty big, and there's always going to be an opportunity for you to show up and meet someone you've talked to online or whatever. And I think maybe just to know it to yourself, you should check it out. I think you'll definitely be ready.
Way bigger than just online. You get first-hand experience next to the person you're playing. You can ask questions. It's just way better.
I think one of the other biggest experiences you know at a tournament, and Joe and Matt, I think you're both going to have something to say about this, is that in an online scenario, many times, and I'm not saying everybody plays casually. Some people try to play as competitively as possible. But I think the majority of people understand that online play is casual. And so, if I'm playing Ultimate online, I might pick Sector just to mess around with it. When I come here, you're getting Human Smoke, period. You're getting Human Smoke. He's my best character. It's who you're going to see, and I'm not going to let up. I'm going to play my hardest. And somebody like Joe, who I almost play in almost every damn tournament, you know, Joe uses Human Smoke and he doesn't let up on me. He just goes and goes as hard as possible all the time. And it doesn't matter what game it is, but I think in an online scenario, more likely to encounter more casual play. I'm going to use characters I'm not as familiar with, have fun, enjoy myself a little bit, not care about what the win-loss ratio is. And when you get to a tournament, it's all business, and nobody's going to go easy on it. And that's something that, unless you've played online, unless you've played offline, I don't think you've really ever experienced truly for somebody to just go absolutely all out on you, not caring if you say, oh, that's cheating. Oh, you're cheating. You're using such a broken character. They're not going to care. Nobody's going to care at the end of the day, the first, second, and third place, how they got there. It's just going to matter that they're there.